You're the reason the narcissist in your life is still winning, and you have absolutely no idea you're doing it. Not because you're weak, not because you're naive, but because you've been taught that the right response to someone who hurts you is to explain yourself, defend yourself, or try harder to be understood. And that one habit, that's the exact thing keeping you trapped. Hi, this is Dr. Elena Voss. If this is your first time here, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Now, let's get into it. There is one specific thing that makes a narcissist completely unravel, and it's not confronting them. It's not exposing them to other people. It's not even walking away. It's staying calm. Completely, quietly, unmovably calm. I know, sounds too simple. But what happens neurologically and psychologically when you do this is anything but simple. And once you understand the mechanics, you'll never engage the same way again. Here's the thing most people miss about narcissistic behavior. It doesn't run on cruelty. It runs on reaction. Every guilt trip, every sudden silent treatment, every twist of a story where somehow you're always the villain, those aren't random moods. They are precise, if unconscious, moves designed to pull an emotional response out of you. Your panic confirms their power. Your anger gives them something to work with. Even your sadness is data they can use. Psychologists call this narcissistic supply, the emotional charge, positive or negative, that keeps a person with narcissistic traits feeling relevant and in control. And here's what makes it so hard to spot. They're not often deliberately calculating any of this. For many of them, it is completely automatic, a reflex built over decades, which makes it no less damaging, but it does explain why logic and reason never seem to land with them. You're not dealing with a rational argument. You're dealing with a deeply grooved pattern. So what happens when you refuse to feed it? When you respond to a pointed accusation with a calm, even voice? When you don't spiral into a defense? When you simply say, "I hear you," and go quiet? They escalate. Every single time, because the machine isn't getting what it needs, and it doesn't know why. They'll dig up older grievances, raise their voice, say something designed to cut deep, anything to correct the surface. And if you hold steady through that wave, here's the part no one talks about, they eventually deflate. Quietly, without resolution, they just run out of steam because there was nothing to burn. Therapists have a name for this approach: gray rocking. The idea is that you become as dull and unremarkable as a gray rock when someone is trying to provoke a reaction from you. Not cold, not checked out, not pretending nothing hurts, just unremarkable, unresponsive to the bait. You give them nothing dramatic to grab onto. And there's actual behavioral science behind why this works. When a behavior stops producing a reward, it extinguishes. That's one of the most replicated findings in all of psychology. True in lab settings, true in relationships, true across species. When the drama stops paying off, the brain slowly stops treating drama as worth the effort. You aren't just protecting yourself in that moment. You are quietly dismantling the pattern. But here's what the gray rock posts on social media never tell you. The hardest part isn't staying composed in front of them. It's what happens inside you afterward. You'll leave that conversation, and a voice in your head will say, "Was I too cold? Should I have said more? Maybe if I had explained it differently, they would have finally understood me." That voice is not your conscience. That's conditioning. That's what happens after a long time of being managed by someone else's emotional chaos. You start to feel responsible for smoothing it over, for making them feel okay, for being the one who keeps the peace. Your calm starts to feel like cruelty to you, even when it's the healthiest thing you've ever done. So the deeper work isn't just learning to gray rock. It's building the internal belief that you are not responsible for regulating another adult's emotions, that your composure is not abandonment, that staying steady is not the same as being heartless. Every time you hold your ground without losing yourself, something shifts. Not in them. Don't wait for that. In you. You get a little clearer, a little less tangled, a little more yours again. And those moments accumulate into something real. That's the actual win here. Not making them change, getting yourself back. All right, I want to hear from you now. Have you ever tried going gray rock on someone? Did it work, or did they push back even harder? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one, and your stories genuinely shape what I make next. See you next week.